Most coaches, consultants, and service providers are trapped on a content treadmill that's designed to make them famous but not rich. They are posting daily reels, chasing attention, while their bank account says something totally opposite. Now, I have spent the last 14 months proving that you don't need an audience to get clients. You just need an activation system. By using my simple hand raise framework, people are pulling in 5 to 9 high-ticket clients every single month on just 20 minutes of work a day. Now, this isn't about going viral. It's just about a simple hand raiser system that turns text into pre-sold clients while you are offline. So how do we actually do this? It starts with a total shift in how you get attention. Imagine you're standing in a busy, crowded market. Everyone is shouting and rushing around. Now, if you grab a megaphone and start screaming, "Hey guys, hi, can I have your attention please?" What happens? Nothing. You're just a background noise. But now imagine you put down the megaphone and lean in and scream that one specific name, David. They'll turn around just because you called them specifically. Calling the problem and not the person. This is the secret to the hand raiser. Now, we aren't calling names, we are calling out specific problems. Now, instead of saying, "Hi guys, do you have any problem with your business?" is too generic. You say, "Are you a consultant who is tired of spending 4 hours a day on LinkedIn only to get ghosted in the DMs?" Now, when you go deep into that X problem, the right person feels like you're reading their private diary. They don't just see you as a post, they feel seen. And that is the start of the hand raiser. And once you have called out their name and they start looking at you, and now is the time that you want them to take action. Now let's shift into the trigger, the hand raising method. Now once you have called out their name and they are looking at you, you need them to take an action with you, right? And this is the trigger. At the end of that short post, you don't need to send them to a website or a long landing page. You just give them a simple instruction. Comment the word, let's say strategy, and I'll send the breakdown over. Now this is the hand raiser. Now please don't come at me saying this is so common and so old. Wait for it until you see for yourself. So you see, so far it's pretty low friction, right? Now it's way easier for someone to type over just one word than it is to hand over an email address to a total stranger. This trigger is what moves the conversation from the loud market, which is the comment section of yours, into a private office, which is your DMs. Now you aren't chasing them anymore. They have officially raised their hand and asked you for the solution. Now this brings me to the asset delivery side of things. Now that they have triggered the conversation, and now you will deliver the pain relieving asset. But here's the rule. You don't try to sell them a $5,000 program the second they enter your DMs. No, that's like asking that David, you remember, to marry you the moment he turns around to look at you. Instead, you give them just an aspirin for the headache. Now this asset is a checklist, a template, or a 2 minutes video that solves one tiny specific part of that big problem immediately. By giving them a win before they ever pay you, you prove that you are an expert. You move from an annoying guy with a megaphone to that person with the cure in less than a minute. So once you have got the entire hand raiser working for you, people are commenting, they are in your DMs, and they have got your aspirin asset. But here's where 90% of the people fail. They think that because someone just downloaded a checklist, they are ready to buy a high-ticket program or something like that. They aren't. There is still a massive trust gap between a free PDF and a $5,000 wire transfer. If you try to close the sale now, you will smell like desperation and they'll disappear. To bridge that gap, we use a framework developed by Google itself. They called it the 7-11-4 rule. It states that for someone to make a significant buying decision with you, they need 7 hours of interaction across 11 different touch points in 4 different locations. Now, if you try to do that manually, you will be working 20 hours a day, trust me, just to close one client. But we are going to speed run this entire process using one specific type of content. And this is exactly where you separate yourself from every other generic DM automation out there. Instead of just dropping a link and ghosting, you start a conversation. You ask them, "Hey, just curious, what's the biggest struggle you're having with whatever problem they are facing right now?" Then about probably, let's say, an hour or so later, after they have had the time to look at your asset, you send them a follow-up, a message which can go something along the lines of like, "Hey, I just wanted to share this video link as well. I thought this might help you more." Now, this is the catch. You aren't selling. You're just giving away more free value without refraining. When you come off as the guy who is genuinely trying to solve their problem, the trust gap vanishes. That video link that you just send as a follow-up, remember, that's the long form part of the strategy, and we call it the trust asset. Now this is a 12 to 15 minutes long video, just like the one you are watching right now. And in this video, you aren't just giving tips, you are shifting their perspectives. When someone sits down and watches you for 12 minutes, they are spending time equity with you. And by the time they finish, they have heard your voice, they have seen your logic, and received a second win from you. And yes, you are actually giving genuine value over here. This whole strategy will fall if you just have a random generic value video. So please give your ideal client a proper solution that will make them feel obliged to you. And now you have effectively compressed weeks of getting to know you into a single coffee break. This is how you move from the private office, which was your DMs, into the living room. Now the living room is where the real relationships happen. By being that genuinely helpful guy which you were in the DMs, providing that trust asset, they aren't just a lead anymore. They are a pre-sold prospect. They understand your philosophy, they trust your expertise, and they are ready to take the final step with you. Now let's move into the next step, which I call as the natural slide, which is converting without selling. Now at this point, you have been that extra helpful guy, right? You have sent the aspirin, you have checked back in, and they have watched your trust asset video as well. But this is where most creators, most founders get stuck. They have a great conversation going on, but they are too afraid to pivot to the offer. Why? Because they don't want to ruin the vibe. They stay in that friendly expert zone until the prospect eventually ghosts them. And this is where we use the natural slide. Instead of a sudden pivot to a sales pitch, we make the transition feel like a slippery slope, where the only logical conclusion is working with you. And it is built on 3 specific layers. First is the long form logic. In that 12 minutes long video you sent earlier, you weren't just giving tips, you were installing a new way of thinking. By the time they finish that video, they should be thinking, okay, this logically makes total sense and I see why my old way wasn't working. Now you have won the battle of the mind. Now you just need to win the battle of the calendar, which is basically getting them to book on your calendar. And this is where the second step of this process comes into picture, which is the low slippery call to action. Now inside the video and the DMs, you don't ask them to buy. No, you offer to help them for free. You say, if you want to see if this specifically works for your business, let's hop on a quick 10 minutes brainstorming call. And I'm sure you can make something better out of this message. I just came up with this randomly. Now you see, this is such a low slippery thing. There is no risk. You're just being that genuinely helpful guy one more time in the video. Now here is the smart part. Even though the offer is low friction, the process is high friction. Now, when they go to book the call, actually, you just don't give them a calendar link. You give them a form first. Now, this form is your filter. It asks tough questions. By making them put in that little effort to get that free call, you ensure that only the qualified, serious people end up on your calendar. And now, you aren't a salesman chasing leads. You are an expert reviewing applications. And this is the natural slide. You have moved them from that loud market to that living room, and now they're literally filling out an application to sit at your kitchen table. The sale now doesn't become a confrontation. It's just the next logical step for someone who has already proven they want your help. You see, my friend, the world doesn't need more closers or hustlers. It needs more people who are willing to be the most helpful person in the room. When you stop trying to shout at the masses and start focusing on these micro conversations and smart filters, everything changes. Your calendar fills up with people who already trust you, and you finally get off that content hamster wheel. And yeah, I also created the complete template for creating trust and pain relief assets that you can grab for free from the description below. And I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.